So who do you think, if you had to guess, who makes out when someone gets a counteroffer and says yes? Is it the company that kept the candidate? Is it, or the employee? Is it the company that lost the candidate, or is it the candidate? Who wins the most? Because guys, we're in the game of life, and your career, it's not really that much different. It's just a game that we play here on planet Earth, and it's pretty fun for a lot of us, and it super sucks really bad for a lot of other people because they don't know how to play the game. And I don't mean con someone. I'm not talking about cheat the game. I mean play it and play it well. And that's actually what we do here on Joshforce, is we try and talk and learn a little bit more about how to play the game of your career really, really well. Okay, I'm Josh Matthews, host of Joshforce, and I run Endeavor Staffing and the SalesforceRecruiter.com. Okay, let's dive into this about winners and losers in the game of counteroffers. All right, so let's just start with a definition of what a counteroffer is. I'm not going to read some dictionary, but it's pretty obvious for most people. But for those of you who it might be a new term, a counteroffer is simply this: when someone accepts an offer, an employee working for this person over here. I'll use my pipe. Okay, so this person over here, he works or she works for this employer. All right. And then this awesome pipe, this awesome employer gives the person working for this employer a job offer. And that person, let's just say it's me. Let's say this is my boss, and these people recruited me, and they gave me an offer, and I said, yes, I'll accept your offer. It's super awesome. Thank you so much. And then I run over to my current boss, and I go, I'm leaving you. It's what happens. And then this pipe gets really frustrated, upset, nervous about how the work's going to get done, and they happen to actually like the person, at least enough to not let them go on that person's terms. They want them to leave on their terms, right? And they say, no, don't leave. What do you need, right? What if I give you $5,000 more? What if I give you $10,000 more? What if I give you a promotion? What if I give you the corner office? What if I give you a stand-up desk finally, or benefits that you probably should have had in the first place? Or what if I actually listen to you moving forward? Whatever the challenge is, or whatever the reason, I'm going to put this down, but whatever the reason is, that's what they do. Now, why do they do that, right? How would they actually win, and how would they actually lose? All right, a couple things. How could they lose? How could this employer, the current employer that I work for, or whoever works for, right? How could they actually lose? Well, they would lose on the counteroffer if that that employee leaves, and they like them, and they're productive. That's the only way that they lose. Okay, so how do they win? Really easily. Two ways. Number one, they buy time. Time is expensive, and sometimes money buys more time, and that time is a lot more valuable than the money that you spent to buy it. So if someone offers me I'm earning $100,000, and this other employer offers me $120,000 or $130,000, and I decide to take it, so I leave, all right? Then this employer over here goes, okay, so they got a $130,000 offer, so I'm going to give them $140,000. I got my calculator. I'm going to give them a $140,000 offer, and because I know that they like it here, they'll probably say yes. So that's an extra $40,000, okay? And then if I have 3, 4, 5 months, I could probably identify a really fantastic employee who's even better than them for $140,000, or I could just promote so-and-so and get them trained up to do their $100,000 job, and then hire myself a $70,000 employee to replace Mrs. A down here, who's going to then get promoted into the role that he's vacating to get this other senior role. So that $40,000 on my little calculator here, well, let's just divide that by 12. So it's, I did that wrong. Divided by 12 is, yeah, $3,333 a month. Now, if I can buy, let's say 4 months, 5 months, or even 6 months, well, 6 months is easy, it's $20,000. So it would cost them $20,000 to keep this, productive employee, working instead of possibly losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of productivity. If they don't have someone in the wings, if it's a really specialized skill set and they don't have a readily available candidate, right? But if they take a little bit of time, they can find the candidate to replace that person. And if they found that person in just 3 months, well, we know what that number is too. We don't need a calculator for that. Anyone want to guess? It's $5,000. Right? Oh, wait, no, I did that wrong. Okay. I think it's, yeah, sorry. It's $10,000. I think I messed up the numbers. All right, so it cost them $10,000 and they can buy a bunch of time. But what would that loss be if they lost that person for 3 months in 2 weeks from now? Well, maybe they're working on a big account. Maybe they're like at the tail end of an integration for a big client. And there's a bonus if they complete the integration early. And if they lose this person, they're going to miss out on that bonus. And that bonus is worth $50,000. Well, now they've just made $40,000 by keeping this person. Now, I'm just talking a lot of numbers here, and I hope it's not too boring, but I really want to break things down to the ridiculous so that people can understand, instead of looking at a statistic, to understand what's the motivation and what's the reality of why someone would want someone or not want someone to accept a counteroffer, and why a manager would want to offer a counteroffer to someone. It's to their benefit, it's to their financial benefit, it's to their sanity, because replacing someone who's productive totally sucks. And I know because I do this for people all the time. Now, I don't think it sucks. I find it a lot of fun. But if I need an employee and I need them to totally kick butt, and I needed them 2 months ago, and I tried some other kinds of staffing firms, or I tried to find people on my own, and it didn't work out, right? And whatever it is, like I didn't have the production, man, that would be a total bummer. Absolute bummer, and it would be expensive. So it's very, very affordable to give someone a big fat pay raise on a counteroffer that's going to completely compel them and sway them to say yes and stay there. Now what happens? Okay. Now, does the other employer win? It's a good question. Got to think about this one real hard, right? I have. I have for you, so nobody think anymore. What do I sound? Okay, so this pipe, remember this guy, right? They made the offer to me. I keep pointing to something else. All right, so they made the offer to me, and I just said yes to the original employer over here. So does this pipe win when I say yes? Because they lose me. Now they're gonna lose their production, right? They're going to not have fulfilled the responsibilities and all the goals and all the things that they planned for. And now they can't because someone, ditched them and gave 2 weeks notice, and maybe the day before. And guys, this happens all the time. This is the quality of people out there in the world, that they'll call up the day before they show up and say, yeah, I've changed my mind, or I found another job. People are willing to screw over anybody and basically ghost them. Now, I haven't seen this happen that bad in a long time, and a lot of that's just because of the style of relationships that I have with my candidates. But trust me, I've seen it, and I've seen it a ton of times, and it can be prevented. That's another vlog, whatever. Okay, video. All right. So did this pipe win? You betcha. Okay, you bet they did. Right? Because the statistics show, whether it's 80%, 89% in 6 months, 75%, that when someone joins or accepts a counteroffer, that they're going to leave anyway, right? Because all the original problems that they wanted to leave in the first place haven't been solved. And guys, it's generally just not all 100% about money. That is not the number one thing. I'm sure I can find a stat to back it up. I'm sure I've read that a ton of times, and it's certainly what I've heard from a lot of people too. Okay, so does this person win? They do. And the reason why they win is really straightforward. You don't want to hire someone who's open to counteroffers. Period. Right? You just don't. I was trying to think of an example, and I was thinking about weddings, and is it better to get left at the altar, right? Or to get married and then have that person, get divorced in 6 months, which is worse, right? I mean, I guess everybody can form their own opinion. I'd rather not throw good after bad, and I'd rather someone be like, no, dude, I'm not gonna marry you. Sorry, I'll kick down 10 grand for the wedding, right? Whatever it is. So, those are my personal feelings, and I think it actually serves most leaders to lose candidates to counteroffers because it demonstrates a real lack of foresight. I was thinking about this this weekend. We drove up to a small town on a river up in Washington to go visit some family, and it's a beautiful drive, Golden Hills, all windy, narrow highway, tons of semi trucks, and I'm cruising around. I got these big all-terrain kind of tires on my truck, so it doesn't exactly track like a Maserati, right? And we're driving up, and there are these times I'm going through these, a big curve at 75 miles an hour, big sweeping curve going down a hill, sandwiched between a couple semi trucks. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. And I just remember, like, come on, dude, look down the road, right? Look ahead. Don't be looking at the semi. Don't even worry about the mirrors. Just look at the fence dead ahead, the place that you want to drive, or the curve as far as you can see, and then your body's just going to do it, right? And I remember thinking, oh, I got to tell Charlie, my oldest, who drives, all the time. I got to remind him about that because, here I've been driving, I don't know, 32 years or whatever it is, and I still forget. Well, it's no different when it comes to jobs. Sorry for the long analogy, but it really is. It's not different when it comes to counteroffers. Accepting a counteroffer demonstrates short-sightedness, right? Either that or just ill will. It's one of the two. You can kind of pick it. Like, are you bad or dumb? Which one? And, for all those folks who are like, well, is he calling me dumb? Yeah, I'm calling you dumb. I think it's a dumb move. I don't think it's a good idea. Now, it may have worked out. And if it did, that's awesome. You're risk adverse, right? There's nothing wrong with being risk adverse. So is it a good thing that this candidate that they spent money on to find, they wooed to come join their team, they spent hours interviewing, maybe even doing technical tests, like whatever's involved. They had to get approval from 3 people, 5 people, 7 people. I've seen it. It's stupid. So, now they're screwed, right? I mean, their production grinds to a halt unless the recruiter has a backup candidate ready to go, like I do, that thing. So, self-plug, plug. Okay, so it's a good thing because you really don't want to hire someone who's willing to take a risk or not careful enough to do a little bit of research to figure out what really happens when they accept a counteroffer. So it's generally temporarily pretty cool thing for them. Maybe they see a little bit of an uptick in their compensation. And who knows, maybe in 3 or 4 months or 5 months when they're planning on leaving the company anyway because they just didn't like it at the end of the day, or because they never took their resume down and they kept searching for something better because they realized 2 months later that they had a mistake, or they got fired because the company that gave them the counteroffer saw their true colors and recognized that, gosh, this is a candidate that doesn't even want to come and talk to us and tell us what's going on before saying yes to someone. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a counteroffer. If you haven't got an offer already, then it's not a counteroffer. Then it's a conversation, right? Hey, Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. or J manager, right? I'm not happy, and I want to be because I know I can be, but I need this, I need that. Whatever it is, you can have a conversation before you start your job search, before you start saying yes to people who are grabbing you for jobs. All right, hopefully this is making some sense. So we talked about winners, losers, okay? So we talked about winner, chicken dinner, the people who didn't get the person who, quit them at the altar. That's not a bad thing. You don't want to deal with that, okay? And then these folks, they won because what did they buy with their little bump or promises? And often counteroffers are just promises. Oh, we're going to do it. We're going to get you the promotion. Don't worry about it. I just need to get approval. Just don't start there. We're going to take care of everything. Trust me. Total bullshit. I wouldn't trust that. Put it in writing, okay? And give me an absolute contract for like a year, right? I mean, you could do that, especially if you're an executive, you can absolutely do that. All right. So we've got winner. We've got a winner. What about me? I accepted the offer. Am I the winner? Probably not. Okay, probably not. number one, you've burned a bridge, right? You burned a bridge with the company that offered you a job and you said yes to, and then later you said no to, which means that you're actually not a person of your word. You signed an agreement. It's not enforceable, right? But you signed an agreement and then you reneged. So that's a character flaw. Actually, it's true, okay? For those of you who are like, well, I was just doing the right thing by my family. I don't know, because character flaws tend to persist and be pervasive, in a lot of different areas. So I don't know. If I'm wrong, yeah, I'm wrong and whatever. It's just a silly video that no one's gonna see. Okay, so it's a character issue, right? To sign an agreement and then renege on it, knowing that you're going to be legally, and I suppose it's not just legal, it's it's a socially acceptable thing to give notice and quit a job, right? It's socially unacceptable, but not legally enforceable to accept an offer, sign, and then not go to work. That's a socially unacceptable action or activity or decision, right? So it's a bad character thing to do that. So my strong recommendation is to not do it. All right, so we know we've burned bridges, okay? We know we've demonstrated lack of character, and we know from statistics and experience that whether it's 60%, 70%, 90%, 100%, that you're gone within 6 months anyway, either because you got fired or you quit because you were unhappy in the first place, and they were unhappy that you even held them over a barrel, in the middle of a bunch of important projects or whatever it is, and made them have to give you more money. So there's going to be resentment. Now you got your extra 3K in your pocket or your 1K in your pocket every month, whatever it is, right? Doesn't matter. Okay, let's talk about how to prevent this in your company, right? Or for your personal career. It's really easy to do. And it's all about having conversations with your boss or with your employee. Super simple, okay? And it works both ways. And by both ways, I mean both for the employee and for the employer. So this is how you do it if you're an employer. You hire someone, right? You have regular meetings with them. You make sure that they're happy. And even if they seem happy, you still have conversations with them. You still have meetings with them. It's a regular experience. And you ask similar questions every single week. And you don't always trust the answers that you get, and you deep dive, right? To find out if someone's truly happy and what they want in their career, and have a career planning program in your organization, or at least have a good sense for everybody in your company, whether they can advance, and if they could, what they would have to do and what they would advance to, and then have discussions around that. It's not a bad idea to have those discussions once a quarter, minimum twice a year, minimum, right? So that keeps the conversation open. And when someone's unhappy and is all of a sudden susceptible to a guy like me giving them a phone call and saying, I got this amazing company, this culture's fantastic, I think that you need to investigate this and see if it's going to be a really awesome experience for you to advance your career, learn, grow, and probably earn a lot more income with a better lifestyle. Is that something you'd be interested in talking about? I mean, when they get a call from a guy like me, if they're unhappy, they'll talk. And I know this because I've been talking to these guys for 20 years, right? It's just how it works. So if you want to prevent that, if you want to have that, 10, 20% of the entire population that's working and not at all susceptible at all to offers or counter offers, you got to have a really super duper happy employee, and they have to feel like they can come and talk to you about things. All right? So have an open conversation relationship where people can express how they really feel with your company and what they really want, and have a plan for them and for their career in ways that they can grow technically, in ways that they can grow financially, and ways that they can grow from a responsibility standpoint. Okay, now you're the employee and you've just received this amazing offer, right? And before you sign on the dotted line, you're going to make sure that it's actually the job of your dreams, or a job that's really going to advance your career. And it's a way better step, not just a little bit better, it's a way better step from where you are right now. It's going to be a great job for your career. There's going to be other videos about that. I might have one or two out already about that, but so that's another discussion. But you want to make sure that you know for a fact that this is where you're going, okay? And the past is the past, and you're going to say goodbye to these guys over here, all right? All right. Now, you have to have a couple things going on for you when you go and tell your current employer that you're resigning. A lot of people just write an email and click send, or they'll write a note or a letter or whatever, they'll send it to HR. A lot of people just go and tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, can we have a conversation? And you talk about it, and while you're there, you hand in your resignation letter, okay? So in that conversation, in that resignation letter should be two things specifically. One is to let them know that you've really thought about this carefully. It is not a knee-jerk decision. It's a really exciting opportunity for you. You're super grateful for the experience and all that you've learned and the relationships, and you hope you can maintain them. Like all that normal resignation letter stuff. Okay, but the things that have to be in there are that this is the right decision for you and your family, if you have one. If you don't have a family, you don't have to say that. Okay, but if you have a family, if you say, this is something I've discussed with my family, this is what's best for my family, that's already going to just put a little bit of brakes on them giving you a counteroffer, right? Maybe not. Some managers are really aggressive, they want what they want, and usually what that is they want to make all the decisions, including who comes on when and who leaves when, and that includes you, all right? So that happens a lot, all right? So include your family. It might soften it just a little bit for them, and you want it to be kind of soft, right? You don't want hard feelings. And then the other thing that you can do is you can say, listen, I would never ever assume ever that you would give me a counteroffer. So I want to be really crystal clear here. This is not a play, right, at all. And I'd rather just save. I would never entertain a counteroffer. It's just not in my DNA. It's just not in my character to do so, okay? So just understand that's where my mind is, and I'm super grateful. I'm so, whatever I can do to make your experience better over the next 2-3 weeks, just let me know. I'll be here. I'm happy to put in extra time, whatever it is, to make this as easy a transition for you and the rest of the team as possible. Something like that. Okay, I don't know, I didn't write it, but something like that would be really good. So just, good defense is an offense. This is an offense, this is defense, but you're just putting that defense like right up front, right? So that's how you do it. That's what I would do. Now, I don't know if you've ever had a counteroffer before, but if you had, would you go ahead and let us know in the notes, in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about your story and find out if anything that we talk about here today gels, makes sense with the kind of experience that you've had. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I definitely recommend you do. Why? Because these videos are so incredibly amazing, and we don't want you to miss out on them. So subscribe and ring the bell, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Have an awesome week and an even better career.